Referring to our first feature, Shakma, Scott Porter says that was so over the top and truer words were never spoken. That's what we're doing on tonight's program. Two over the top bonanzas for you. We hope you were adequately disturbed by our first feature, Shakma. And welcome back to the second segment with our special guest host, Jen Upton. Thank you for coming back.
I'm still awake.
I don't know how.
We had a revelation at the end of that movie that the next day this is going to turn into a whole satanic panic thing that everybody killed each other because of the LARPing.
Yeah.
No, because there's no evidence of Shakma being there. Shakma got all burned up. So obviously these kids were playing a game. Their teacher tried to stop them. They killed their teacher. They thought that girl was really a princess, so they got in a fight over the princess. Also, Becca said that she's dressed like a princess from Aladdin because she thinks the monkey will like her, like a poo. Not true. By the end of this, a lot learned by all of us as we watched this together. Really something else.
It didn't like her. It didn't like her at one bit.
He didn't like anybody.
No. No, and if you come at Shakma with a stick with a syringe on it, again, the technology in Florida research labs was lacking. No dart gun, no like cage or like, is there like some kind of fog that could knock out these monkeys? You would think there's more than one monkey in this place. Because there was a random cat showed up out of nowhere near the end. A jump scare with a cat. Where the fuck that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only other and a Donkey Kong stuffed animal. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the research animals that are in this one building. Nobody was like, should Becca said, Shakma the sequel, this shit is bananas. BANANAS.
Right on.
SAKMAS. Shakma is bananas. Yep. But like nobody learned anything. There was no safety.
Nope.
He dressed like a character from a Capcom fighting game by the end with his fist taped up and jeans. Everybody tucked their shirts in. Nobody had an untucked shirt. The girls especially.
Yeah.
The real villain is that girl that showed up to pick up her princess friend and was like, she's taking forever. Where'd she have to be? Friendlies or something? Or the Waffle House to meet a guy? She was like, I'm leaving.
She left.
She just took off.
It didn't dawn on her that maybe something was wrong. Maybe the reason nobody was actually responding to her was because they were in trouble. But no, she just decided to take off.
Mike Justice, I agree, said the only character making it alive was that broad rocking out her car to what sounded like someone had a seizure at a Casio keyboard. I said, she's rocking out to the soundtrack of every Film Mirage movie. That's what it sounded like. She was like, it was like dibble dabbling on the keyboard. That's
was noodling away on her keyboard.
Yeah, she was. She's like, check out this new Walter or Wendy Carlos album. It's great.
It's like an electric elephant made a song.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I have to say that I love how brutal it is. It's just merciless. Every single fucking character dies by the end. Even Christopher Adkins, even he cannot completely outsmart Shakma. I really felt it when his girlfriend died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what else I noticed is when the princess dies, you could tell she did not want to wear makeup. So you never see her face or any wounds on her. He carries her out of frame. And then she's covered, and that's it. I thought that was wild. And I also loved that at the end he dies, and like I wish there was a voiceover, like a Sunset Boulevard kind of voiceover, like a film noir and voiceover. Like, well, I guess that's it. Guess that monkey killed me. Oh fuck, there's a stuffed monkey staring at me as I die. Like that's how it should end.
Was that the princess that looked like Marsha Brady?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's from Kate and Allie. She was one of the daughters on Kate. I don't know if it was Kate or Allie's daughter. I can't remember that far back. Yeah. I also like that when he finally gets to a phone to call the cops, that's when he's like, just enters into a fugue state. And they're like, hello? And he's just like, there's only one phone in this whole building and one stick with a syringe on it. That's all you got.
There were so many contrivances, I have to say.
Oh,
not that I usually complain about those kind of things, but there were so many times in this movie where I was like, what are they doing? Like I think Jennifer said, why haven't they pulled the fire alarm yet? It was right there.
I don't-
Also, as much as I appreciate that they're there to do LARPing, it really, you could have made up another easier plot that like they had to do extra credit or they had to help the professor with the project and that's why they're there. Like the LARPing really feels like so far around the barn. And then there's that scene with the 80s computer graphics and that face going, and it's like,
We all end up
okay,
wanting
like,
more
but
Roddy, Scott.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah, that Roddy's like, look, this is all you get. I signed up for 15 minutes, and that's all I get. I have to get back to keeping Rodney Dangerfield out of the Screen Actors Guild. I'm very busy, and that's all. That's all the time I have.
Oh.
And I have to get back to trying to get Fright Night 3 made.
Oh my
And-
God.
and,
Yeah.
you know,
Was he in part 2?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I don't
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
remember
great in
that.
part 2.
I know I saw
They
it.
flip the roles in part 2, so he's the one that believes in vampires in part 2,
Oh.
and vice versa. Good luck finding it. It's not out on DVD or anything.
I know I saw
And,
it back
they
in the
tried to-
day. I just don't remember it at all. I remember the first
The
one really
crazy
well. But
story is that they were trying to make the third one, and they had lunch with the executive from Live Entertainment, who was Lau Menendez's father. And the day after that lunch, he was killed. And
oh my God.
the director called and said, Roddy, did you kill him? And he's like, no, I had nothing to do with it. So I guess the lunch went really badly. He's like, I'm never making another one.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. I kind of like what makes this movie for me though is that Shakma kills everybody. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes where he's like slamming against the door and you really feel it's like, damn, like he's a really good actor. Like Shakma, you know?
Well, we talked about like if you take all Shakma's scenes out, it's all basically the good tricks that he does. It's just like his resume tape of I can jump, I can punch, I can click a door. It's all like you said. There's someone behind the door knocking, he's knocking back, but there's some great editing of putting it together of how they did it.
I'm sure because it feels like some of the stuff where he's running towards the camera, it's probably the trainer on the side going, "Come here, boy, come here." Yeah.
A couple of the shots were animatronic too, like the mouth after it's killed one of the victims, and there were a couple
puppet
parts.
The hand, that puppet hand coming in to try to get her when she was in that box.
It's not a bad animatronic
Effective.
either. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I just like that they're like, you know what this movie needs? A cat, an orange cat jumping out of nowhere, freaking people out. Wow. Becca is right. Shakma is smarter than we think. They have reading capabilities.
It could happen.
He didn't like Blue Lagoon. That's what this movie's about. He's like, I saw your Blue Lagoon, and it was bad.
Planet of the Apes is coming sooner than you think.
It is. Young Shakma was not having it. I like that he's like all like proud of himself when he's burning it up, and then he gets in the other room and falls on a sheet. You can hear like walk across the sheet, and then he dies. Good job.
Yeah.
I can't. We were saying like the next morning, like people have to come there for class. That's the first they're going to come for class, and there's like 4 dead people, a ton of blood, a burned up monkey, and a dead professor.
Yeah. Police procedural, Shakma 2, the next day.
Shakma 2. Yeah. It's how the school deals with the grief of these 4 students dying and a professor dying.
Yeah.
And it's just like a tender like drama. It has nothing to do. It has no horror elements whatsoever.
No.
People are like, wow, they really changed up that sequel.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
This also, someone said before we watched this feels like a TV movie. And the first couple scenes, you're like, yeah, it definitely does. But then it has a lot of gore. It's got a lot of blood. And I like that.
Yeah, the one a partially dissolved corpse.
Yeah.
Can you guys think of any other LARPing movies besides this and Mazes and Monsters?
Tag the Assassination Game.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah. There's a shot on video one. I can't remember what the name is, but these guys are LARPers and they get pulled back in time. I just had it on the site, and they find out that they have to use their LARPing abilities to rescue a real princess. I guess what do you call it? Jumanji, the new Jumanji movie.
Yeah,
could be one.
yeah.
With everybody's favorite, The Rock. That's that one. I'm going to look up what that other one's called. Though. I have it here. list of sword and sorcery movies.
Oh, isn't Ready Player One kind of?
Yeah. Cobblestone, that's what it's called. It's by the same director that did Phobe, the Canadian shot-on-video science fiction movie.
Mm.
Yeah, Ready Player One kind of counts. I guess does Tron count? No.
Kind
He
of.
gets pulled into a game. It's not like
It's not.
LARPers.
Yeah, no.
It's not willingly.
Yeah.
No.
There is that new D&D movie that when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is happening. And it's like, how much is the budget on this? And they're making it. They're like, fuck it, we're doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess Knights of Badassdom. That's another good call. Yeah.
Shakma 2 is the feel-good hit of the summer, says Rex Reed. They would have a flashback about, the monkey's life before he went to the lab. Riding his bike in the park.
Oh, a good call. There's that scene in Nightmares, the anthology that's like a kind of D&D guys getting pulled into it. That's pretty cool. That's a good call. I think this is a movie that needs. Role Models has a lot of LARPing in it, but it's not horror. But it does have LARPing and Kiss in the same movie. That's true. Is Existenz?
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's not LARPing.
Kind of. Yeah. I
love that movie. By the way, it came out at the same time as The Matrix.
I know.
I'm like, it's way better than The
Matrix. Way better. You're the only person I've ever met that agrees with me on that. Like, I'm like,
100%.
Yeah.
It has the most disturbing thing when they have to plug that weird brain box into people's butts.
Yeah.
And it's alive. It's like our video game system is alive. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, and it pulsates like an organ.
Yeah.
Because it's Cronenberg.
Dan Fitch, great job on Skullduggery. Skullduggery is a great slashery kind of mess of a movie, which I love. And it's on Tubi, and it's one we've been talking about it. Oh, and I talked to Bill about this week. I'm going to make a letterbox list that's going to be a public one that people can put their suggestions for the show directly into the list. So we'll have everybody's picks in one place. So
that's awesome.
Put them there. Mike, I think you're right. There's something to. They're close to LARPing.
How about Mumsy, Nanny, Girly, and Sonny and Girly?
I've never seen.
I never saw that.
Oh well, I mean, it's kind of a role-playing game. That's what it is, but I don't know if they would call it that. It's not, bold-faced LARPing.
I'm looking up movies about LARPing. Monster Camp is another one I've never seen.
Can you guys hear the snoring behind me?
Yes, Adrian's crashed.
There's there are movies where people were playing war games. Does that count? Like where like war games turn wrong and like a monster attacks or something? Like the Supernaturals? Or is that like kind of like military? It's not really LARPing.
I guess so. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Bill, have you ever gone and seen the LARPers down by
Never.
Route 8 in Pittsburgh? Oh, on Sundays they used to practice right where you turn onto the bridge to go to the zoo. And they were all down there, and they would do fights down there. And that same highway...
That's what we're about in Pittsburgh, Jen.
That same highway used to be cleaned by a Star Trek fan club, the USS Potemkin.
Oh.
And they would all wear their Starfleet Admiral costumes.
Oh, my God.
Picking up garbage, and people would roll down the window and scream stuff like, beam this down, hit them with cans of pop. A perfect afternoon.
Oh.
I'm not one of those people that would yell obscure Star Trek stuff, like look out for the Tribble, and throw a wig at them.
That's awesome.
But maybe I did.
Okay, I was walking home today from the grocery store, and there's a whole group of people on this little bridge that faces the train tracks, and I was like, what's going on? And all these people had cameras, and they're waiting for some like old 40-year-old locomotive to pass through. So these are all like train nerds taking pictures.
Oh, they had their little notebooks out.
Yeah, and I was like, I've never seen that before. I've heard about it. Like,
would one of them walk on to? Was one of them looking for a special station that you had to walk through the wall?
No, but it was funny because I yelled out, "Where's Begbie?" And nobody laughed. I was like, "Oh, come on, guys."
One of my friends, one of the guitarist in my last band is a bird watcher now, and I always bust his balls. There was an article on a punk rock site. It's like, once you turn 40, bird watching seems pretty cool. I sent him because that article's so fucking true. He's like 100%. He's like, I used to tour and really be into learning riffs. Now I just want to look at birds.
I'm the same way. I look at owls.
Yeah.
Like I go out looking for owls at night. I'm like, it's cool, you know. Hey, you know.
You're gonna go out and look for Shakma.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about those gibbons? And there's a news story. I forget where it was. It was in Japan. This female gibbon was alone, and somehow she got pregnant, and the keepers couldn't figure out what happened. And it took them 2 years to figure out that the male in the enclosure next door found a hole. And they did a DNA test, and they said he was the father. So it was literally a monkey glory hole.
Wow.
Yep. You know, it's like Jeff Goldblum said.
Yeah,
nature
exactly.
finds a way. Yeah.
It's all over CNN. And I was like, oh my God.
It happens even in the animal world.
Yep.
There was really no way out for any of the people in this movie. Shakma was going to kill them all no matter what. They should have never gone to play. They should have LARPed somewhere else. There's nowhere better to LARP. Don't LARP at work. Don't go back to work.
There
Don't
he
stick around
is
school.
with Jerry. I think it's pronounced Thierin. I'm not sure. That's his trainer, Jerry. Yeah.
The reason we didn't watch this on the first segment is because there was a file compatibility issue with these photos. Which is
I'm so sorry. That's probably my fault.
It might have been my producer's fault too. So I'm going to fire him after the show. But unfortunately, he's me. And here's this other one too.
There's him and Jeff Goldblum. Yep. There he is. He loved some Jeff Goldblum.
Obviously.
Yep.
Pittsburgh's own.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep. He's like, Jeff Goldblum, why did you do those weird movies in France after this?
Hello, this is Pete Burns of Dead or Alive here. And I'd like to tell you that Shakma's got a snout like an ironing board.
He does.
He looks like Lionel Richie's chin.
He has very human eyes. He looks like the thing that they sculpted in the Hello video. Like the blind girl sculpts that she thinks is Lionel Richie. And it looks like Lino from Thundercats. And he's like, let me feel your face. Yeah. That video is upsetting. Becca bought me, by the way, Becca buys me weird colognes. There's like, she goes to like TJ Maxx and like closeout stores. And my Christmas gift last year was a bottle of Lionel Richie's Hello, the cologne. And it had like a stick figure drawing of Lionel on it. I don't even know what it smelled like. I've also got pre-racist Kanye West cologne. Now I'm not allowed to have that. And now I have Real Tree Camo Smell of the Trees cologne. And what is the other one? 2 bottles of car cologne. What car brand? Nissan Patrol and Nissan Turp. But Becca's like, you smell great. I'm like, it's the smell of Nissan.
Yeah.
That's what I smell like.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we forget the Mafu occasion?
Good call, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. There were no fire extinguishers in this place. There were no axes. There were 2 dull knives and a stick with a hypodermic needle. Really, the game was on them. They're like, you know what? If we want these students to turn out right, we're not going to give them any of the tools of survival. Also, every other student was like, I love fucking with this monkey. It's the best job being an intern. Those ones in being, we like to tie his arms together and just beat him. And it's like, you know what? Of course he's going to kill the people that saved him.
Yeah.
That's the way of the world. I know we have a lot of people from Florida here. And for some reason, they're not here tonight, so I won't make fun of. This seems like what Monkey Lab in Florida would really be like. That's too easy.
Most of the people I know who are in this chat who aren't from Florida would make that same joke.
Yeah, exactly. It really seems, that's what it would be. But Shakma, humans 1, Shakma 4. I think let's give it to him.
Yeah.
Let's give it to, and Typhoon had the best performance in this whole movie.
And to be honest, he's even Cronenberg on the Fly commentary track said when he came on set, they were all aware this is a very special actor. And then he did
Yeah.
great. Every time they asked him to do something, he just did it in one take. He's just like, wow.
Yeah. He never asked what his motivation is. They're like, walk across the room, jump up and grab that. Cool, great,
Yeah.
got it.
Just be you. Be
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does all these great kung fu moves in Unmasking the Idol and the Order of the Black Eagle. It's just, you know, beats up all the bad guys in his little ninja suit. So
I really don't know what else you need from a movie. Like you sold me. It's like the trailer should just be a 15-second trailer of a monkey from the back. He turns, he's in a ninja suit. He throws a couple punches, and you're like, go fucking see it. That's the whole trailer. Like that's why do you need to see anything else?
Yeah. And there's this whole secret lair that Duncan Jacks has, and then the bad guy has a separate secret lair, and they're all like, I'm like, these sets are fantastic. Like they must have been for something else. I'm quite certain they were built for something else. And you know, I'm just not sure of how those movies even came to exist. I have no idea.
I love that they do though. Like, yeah, there's like the Phantom Empire movies like that too, where it's like it's strange because it's like part of it is like a movie serial and part of it is like a Russ Meyer movie, and it's like it's got the craziest stuff. And like, oh yeah, and by the way, Anthony Kiedis' dad's in it, and it's got so much going on. Blackie, damn it, yeah. He also in Nine Deaths of the Ninja. But it's like wow, this is happening. Like I love when you get to that point in those movies and you're like, this is crazy that this is happening in a movie.
Yeah.
There's a monkey doing kung fu and he has his own little tank.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the movies that I want to see.
There's a close up of his little hand downshifting. Of his little It's just incredible.
Oh.
It's like they built this. Man. They built a tiny little
You could teach him anything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I love that they came to his trainer and they're like, we have an idea that he's going to drive a little tank. And he was like, great, I'll help you build it. Like, do you know what I mean? It was probably like, yes, we will train him to downshift. And
I'm pretty sure it's edited together. I don't think he actually drove it. I think it's cut together, but it's cut together beautifully. it's just, and the tank looks like, remember that vehicle that comes up on the beach in Dr. No? It looks like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Except it's small. It's just, yeah.
What year was this film?
Oh, I love it.
They were both in the 80s. I think one was 86 and one was 87. I can never remember which one was first. I think Unmasking the Idol was first.
There's this whole, I think it's probably like there was like around the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary Bond would have been.
Yeah, it's
like
around
87 or 86 of Dr. No. And like, so there was like Mayfair Games put out the role-playing game and like Octopussy was huge that year. You know what I mean? And that's when like number one of the Secret Service came out. Like there was like, you know what I mean? A lot more like suddenly it's also one of my favorite Never Say Never Again comes out around that time. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, Sean Connery can just make another Bond movie and Kim Basinger's in it. We'll be cool with it.
Yeah. This one, the first one came out in 86. Directed by Worth Keeter, who did a lot of other. Oh my God, this list is really long. Worth Keeter.
You're trying to find the thing that jumps out the most.
He did a few Power Rangers films later on. He did quite a few Power Rangers.
Oh.
Scorpio 1. Big Bad Beetleborgs.
I've seen that. Oh.
I remember that.
Oh, Chris said he's an Earl Owensby guy, so he did, Rottweiler, which was in 3D.
Order of the Black Eagle was the second film. That's 87. That's the one where he drives the tank. But you have to watch them in order because Boone's in the first one more than he is in the second one. But I'm never quite. I just. It's jaw dropping. All of it, even all the stuff that the main guy does. He does the hot air balloon thing, and I think he does a scuba diving scene in one of the films, and it's just like, and he can't
Scuba
act.
diving. What couldn't he do?
The main guy, the actor, was Ian Hunter,
That's why I
not
kinda
the
like-
musician. No.
I got excited there.
I was
for a
gonna
minute.
say what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he literally says Duncan
Oh,
or
man.
Jax, Duncan Jax, and you're like, this right there. I'm just in love. Never did anything else. Just those two films. There you go.
Oh,
Where
man.
do you go from there?
Duncan
And
Jacks.
we should probably move on to our second film of the night because it's one we've been dying to do on the program since we started doing these programs, and it's Frankenstein 80 from 1972. Don't get confused. It is not from 1980.
Yeah. Because every movie back then, Becca said, why is it called that? Because they would try to make stuff futuristic back then and say 80. Or, I mean, they would go a couple years before and like, oh, this is the future of Frankenstein. It was directed by Mario Mancini, who was the cinematographer for another Frankenstein movie, Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks, as well as The Girl Room 2A, another movie that's super scummy. You may wonder, did he do scummy movies? He did. Also, as Jen said, she watched this already. This movie goes there. It goes a lot of places, and this is one of Bill's favorites. So, Bill, please tell us why you love this movie. I love it too, but I love hearing Bill talk.
It just blew my mind how scummy it was the first time I saw it. I really felt dirty having seen this, and it's not even that it's so gratuitously gory. I guess it was inspired by EC Comics. And it really, if you look at it that way, the whole movie makes sense because it's so over the top ridiculous in the gore department. The violence is just crazy. I mean, we already said on the program there's a character in it that gets beaten to death with a bone, and which you never see in a movie. At least I can't think of any other movie where I've seen such a thing. And but what really I thought was distasteful about this is the violence. I mean, people talk a lot about violent movies that show violence towards women, and especially Siskel and Ebert. This is the movie that Siskel and Ebert thought they were seeing every time they ragged on one of those 80s slashers, which look really tame compared to the violence you see inflicted on the women in Frankenstein 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this is the only movie that Mancini directed, but he was a cinematographer and camera guy on a lot of movies beyond that. And he also was the cameraman on Blood and Black Lace and Black Sabbath. So one would think he probably learned, and Nightmare Castle. So one would think from those movies he learned a few things. And yeah, Bill talked about how this is EC Comics based. There's a comic in Italy, Ola Tromba. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but the EC Comics inspired like this whole wave of super dark Italian comics that went even further than the movies, which are incredibly upsetting. Yeah, this movie definitely fits into that world, to say the least. Also, if you're watching the one on Tubi, warning before you watch it, it is a VHS print.
Yeah.
It's super beat up. It doesn't look great, but this is coming out on Blu-ray this year from Cauldron Releasing, and which is really exciting because it's going to look super awesome. And it's neat. It's amazing that this is going to have a great print. A lot of people have said, hey, I had this on a Mill Creek DVD. You sure did. And again, that print, not that good either. But, like if you grew up in the days of renting videos and the videos were all staticky and tracking or watching UHF, like this shouldn't bother you. This is like that kind of experience. Like, just enjoy it as what it is. And not everything's pristine if you're catching it like that.
Can you think of movies like that, Jen, that
excited.
you've seen where they looked really bad the first time you saw them, but you still liked them?
The Creature from Black Lake. I saw that because it's an anamorphic film and it's squeezed in all the old prints. And I just saw the Blu-ray a couple of weeks ago, the restored Blu-ray, and it is a thing of beauty. It is just gorgeous. And I'm like, wow, this is a different film than what I thought it was. Completely. It's but I still like the movie, even though before it was, you know.
I was talking to a director today, and he said the first time he saw City of the Living Dead, Gates of Hell, he saw a VHS from his home video store, and it was so like staticky and beat up. He was like, "This movie's crazy." He goes, and when I saw it on Blu-ray a couple years later, he's like, "I could see how cheap the effects were, and it really took away from like the power of it being that fuzzy and that beat up." And like he's like, I really, and I saw it the first time like that on VHS as well, and it's like, I love that. Like it has some kind of power that so many people have watched this, especially when you rented a movie. So many people have gone through and experienced this in the same time as you, and sometimes you'll see a lot of tracking in certain scenes in the movie because people paused it in that place. And like it's really neat to kind of experience a movie that's been through that much level of beat upness, and sometimes not see everything as pristine as it can be. I will now. That is my TED Talk. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
So there really was no ad campaign to show you for Frankenstein 80, so I just pulled some of the more interesting posters that I could find, including this one. I think this is German, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. Frankenstein.
I like that.
They really get to the point with that title.
Yeah.
And it's very gruesome.
It's funny because in Germany, a lot of the Godzilla movies had Frankenstein or Dracula used to sell them over there. So it was definitely a brand name. So throw sex in with Frankenstein. You're like, yes, I need to see that.
And we already talked about how this never played, or Darren just asked, coincidentally, did it ever play in the U.S. in theaters? No, it did not. However, look at this thing from Hallmark releasing when they issued the Klaus Kinski film Slaughter Hotel. And I'll make this full screen here. This is actually from Frankenstein 80, this image. This is the character that meets a gruesome end at the other end of a giant bone. So I don't know what kind of movie people thought they were getting when they went to see this as Slaughter Hotel, but Frankenstein 80 is the movie they were hoping to see. And it's going to help if you have something to drink. It looks like Sam is ready to deliver our second alcoholic beverage of the evening.
This one's got a lot of alcohol because I think it'll help you through this movie. You get my ingredients.
Sorry, did I come back too soon?
My accoutrements. No, you came back perfect. I just got to get a maraschino.
I've got mine ready. Jen, are you drinking more beer?
No, I'm going to go to sleep soon.
Well, here we go. This one's got a little more ingredients in it. It's going to start with an ounce of this gives it the Frankenstein look. An ounce of Malibu, Midori. There's Malibu too, though. Now we're going to do an ounce of gin to follow that up. That's the stitches. I don't know. There's not everything matches up with Frankenstein. All right.
I'm substituting vodka for gin.
That's probably a smart move. And then we're going to do an ounce of Midori and Malibu. And this is the end of the Malibu. That's it. Another dead soldier. And then 2 ounces of pineapple juice. This is where the health conscious part of the comes in. And 2 ounces of orange juice.
Hello, this is Pete Burns of Dead or Alive, and I want to know that I find your cocktails repugnant.
All right. I wish I had a giant bone to like stir it with, just like the movie.
I could say something here, but this is a PG show.
I know. So. finally, you're going to want to add a maraschino cherry or several to your drink. Why stop at one? All right. Let's take a look at that. Oh, it's very Frankenstein-y.
That looks good.
Yeah. Well, Jen, thanks for staying up super late with us.
You're welcome.
Sorry that we knocked Adrian out, but I'm very excited to watch this. This is a movie we've wanted to watch for some time. And
Pazuzu.
Hints for next week's show. One of the movies next week is, should we say who's guest hosting, Bill?
AC Nicholas is going to be here next weekend.
Yeah. One of the movies next week is legitimately one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. A movie that I can't even, if I even describe what it is, you'll instantly know what it is. Maybe, or not. It's a movie that I didn't know about till a couple years ago. It's very odd. And I picked the second movie, and it's real scummy. So there's your hint. And I guess I could say who the director is, right? Because then there's like 190 of his movies to go through. That probably tells you who directed it. So
you're being like very vague book about this. Like
Jess Franco directed the second movie. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you lived in Pittsburgh, there's a band with that name. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. A very good band.
There is. Yeah. And so there you go. And I love it. But, that could be any movie. I love them all. So super excited. But that's next week. This week, we got Mosaic, a stitched up body of dead convicts with a giant bone, killing women, amongst other things. Gordon Mitchell's in this movie. He's in a lot of Italian films. A movie that probably could never happen in America. Should not happen in America.
Americans would have ruined this movie.
No. Probably someone in Italy was like, Andy, did this come out before Andy Warhol's Frankenstein or after?
It was actually before Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. I'm glad you brought that up because it's very similar. It's got that same feel, if not the look of it, that sense of bodily violation and this strange idea of sewing different body parts together and somehow they work.
It's funny because like the Andy Warhol's one is very much like, oh, this is funny. There's like some humor to it. Not a lot of humor in it. It's funny because of how far it goes. I should say that's what's funny about it. But we've shown both of them. We've cornered the market on sexy and disturbing Frankenstein movies, except Saint Frankenstein, which is a shot on video one, which is really good. It's only about 20 minutes long, but I recommend that one. Super hot. If you can, it's on YouTube. It's worth checking out. Not showing Eyes of Fire yet, David, though I do like Eyes of Fire an awful lot.
That is good.
But yeah, I'm gonna make that letterbox list pretty soon. I'll put the link up on my site, and I'm sure Bill put it up too, where if you got a movie, you'll be able to just drop a request in there, and that'll help us out because a lot of times we get really great requests when we're doing the show, and I'm like, oh, it's
hard to remember.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, what is and Bill texts me all the time, and I'll send him back like 50 movies, and I'll be like, just tell me the one that you want. And it's like always between like maybe this, and I'm like, well, people like that.
Because I always know the one that you want, and you hide it in this nest of other titles, and I'm like, oh, that's the one he really wants in there.
There's another one that I really want that's coming up. It's a movie that I've brought up doing a million times, and I'm really excited because we're going to find the right person to do it with, and it's going to be really good. So.
Jen Upton, what do you have going on that you want to talk about, or is there nothing you can say?
Not much right now. I just finished reading, like I said, the new Roberta Fenley book, and because I've read it, I've kind of now gone back and started to retool the book that I'm working on to make it more like what Sam was saying during the film when we were talking off the air was that to make it less academic and more, why do I love these movies? But yeah, it's all about 90s Japanese cinema. So it's the second golden age. But I'm going back and kind of retooling it a little bit. So it'll be a bit more fun than it was in its first incarnation. So that's about it. And then other things that I've worked on are as an editor. Hopefully we'll have a new announcement very soon. So like within the next couple of months, I think. Yeah. So hopefully.
Very cool.
That's about it, really. I've just been doing little projects here and there. I did get my first Facebook warning the other day for a project that I got. I was doing some articles for a women's health blog, and they said this is adult content. I went, okay, yeah. I was so happy. I was feeling left out that I hadn't been given a warning yet. So I'm like, okay.
It's scary when you get it, though, isn't it? Because you're like, shit, are they going to shut my account down?
I don't know. It wasn't my account. It was my client's account. So it was sort of like, okay, but she was like, just so you know, this happened. And I'm like, well, yeah. Okay. I mean, it's open discussion about lady things. So yeah.
You started with, hey, bitches, let's talk about lady parts.
Actually,
and they were like, no, we can't have that.
No, I was pretty tame on this one. And even she was like, I thought you were pretty tame with this one. And I was like, I was. So
you were reeling it in.
Yeah. It is possible for me to launch thesaurus.com and be, professional every now and then. So
I have an online profanity checker because when I post reviews onto Amazon, for movies I get, I have to put it in because like there's certain words in Amazon that, like the dumbest things, like they get triggered.
Yeah,
they won't run them otherwise.
Hey,
hello, Dustin. Welcome to the show. Dustin is in Florida and just missed the whole movie about monkey experimentation in a Florida college. So
Zuckerbot is always
gone wrong.
Yes, he is.
That's why anytime I do a Nazi exploitation movie, I say a movie about
it's easier
the Army.
to say it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't say like if a movie where like Hitler's the bad guy, I always say the leader of the German army in 1941 to 1938 to 1944. Yeah. And it's
here's something that got Sam excited on the Facebook page this week. Because this is of course
super exciting.
Jose Ramon Larraz.
The movie with the horse. You just hit me in my brain's head.
Sin is in the title or something.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I thought this was Coming of Sin. I thought this was, of course, So Sweet, So Dead, which also has an alternate title. The slasher is The Sex Mania.
Yeah,
but no.
Yeah, and Emmanuel in Denmark has a million other titles too. That's not the original title. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, Scott Porter's wife was on his laptop and typing stuff. She just said hacked. Like, I thought we were going to get something really scandalous, like fuck Mark or something. Yeah. But yeah, Bill, this ad made me super excited because like also the Cinecentra, it used to be the ABC Piccadilly Circus and then became one of the Canon theaters a couple years after. So a lot of stuff played there. So, but yeah, that ad's crazy, and it's great that someone else found that was the poster because Coming of Sin has another title, a million titles.
Cave of Cult found it. A really cool Facebook page called Cave of Cult. I'm not sure who does that.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. And also, Bill, I know how much you love the font for Cinecentra.
Oh, of course. I'm just really upset that Cinecentra doesn't have the letters in Drive and Asylum in it, all of them. The D, the R, the V.
It's so close. But this ad's amazing, and this ad is very much a like, you're gonna go see this, right? Like everything in this ad's like, yes,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
I like that they're like, is there enough? And like, but what if we put lock up your wives? And then like, fuck grammar. Let's put an ellipses and an exclamation point. Why not? That's a joke for Jen, a writer joke.
It
And
is.
then let's put another exclamation point on the bottom. I had a creative and another strip fraction, italic, everything in this ad screaming. And like, I had a creative director once that said, why don't you use 2 exclamation points? Because then people know how important the thing you're writing. And I said, but won't that take the power away from when I want to use 3? And he's like, now you're understanding how to be a writer. And I was like, no, I'm not. Not at all. I become dumber from talking to you.
Oh, I wanted you
right.
guys to know I watched Massage Parlor Murders on your recommendation.
Oh, we lost Jen. Where'd she go?
Oh,
There she
There
is.
she is.
Yeah.
You know that came out from Vinegar Syndrome Friday, by the way, on 4K.
I loved it. I did everything about it.
How much can they clean up that movie? Could you imagine a UHD of that movie? Like
Yeah.
It's like just a step or two above Doris Wishman, but not many steps.
Yeah. Yeah. When Brother Theodore showed up, I was literally like, oh my God.
Yeah. I was so afraid of Brother Theodore as a kid because he would randomly show up on Letterman and just want to fight Dave.
Yeah.
And I was always like, who is that guy? Like, he's so frightening. And then when I got older, I'm like, oh, he's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
It's just a guy doing his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that came out on the Vinegar Syndrome sale, and I was like, God damn it. Those guys.
Yeah.
What money can you take from me?
And you guys were right about like it is a travelogue. It really is of New York's Times Square at that time period.
Yeah.
It's just
gorgeous,
like,
isn't it?
You can actually kind of smell some of the scenes. You know, like, oh.
I can smell the segment in the pool for sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Your eyes might burn a little bit in that scene. The coin's just that much.
I was just sort of wondering in that movie, like, that's what he does for his lunch break? Like,
Throw a naked pool party? Sure. Doesn't everybody?
It was New York City, baby. Anything goes.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That movie's pretty wonderful. I'm glad that it's great. And also, like, I belong to one of the Vinegar Syndrome collectors groups of people that only buy those movies because they buy everything they put out. And they get so upset when a movie is like that, where they're like, what the fuck is this movie? Is like a ton of the posts. Like Violator and Infernal, a lot of people were upset by it. I was like, cool. That's one of the few I bought. I'm really glad you didn't like it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, but then there's a lot of these people that just buy this and they're upset when their slip covers have a ding on them. There's a lot of posts like, did you see what my slip cover looks like? And like,
I've seen those posts. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. The jury's still out on the slipcover obsession. I really don't understand.
Yeah.
I like when I do like the Vinegar Syndrome ones because especially the Massage Parlor Murders have some really great art on the front and back, and that's really cool. But like, if it's the same art that's in the inside, like, okay, like I guess.
Well, it takes up so much more room on the shelf when you've got a whole bunch of things with those slipcovers on it. Like that's couple more Blu-ray cases you could fit in there.
Yeah.
I totally forgot, Bill. I have another giveaway. We'll do it on the third segment. That's a reason to come back for the third segment.
Yes.
I'll show you. Should I show people what it is, or is it scummy?
Oh no, go ahead and show it.
It is Texas Chainsaw Mascara. Oh man, it's a Bill's Above movie. A group of New Yorkers take a road trip to Texas, planning to visit locations from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Their car breaks down, and they trust a local to offer help. They do not pay the proper respect to Southerners. These gruesome events could have been prevented. And also has the movie Dirtbags, which features Peter Steele from Typo Negative. So we'll be giving this away in the next segment. When this came in the mail, Becca said, "Oh, you got a fucking movie upstairs," and I was like, "Oh no."
Oh no.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, there he goes.
There it is.
Back. But anyway, third segment, come back and you can you might win this. Real people win. Dan Sitch got his movie in the mail this week. He said so.
Cool.
Right on.
He better not win again because he's in Canada, and that costs a lot to send.
Better not win again.
No, he can win again.
By
He's
the
a great
way,
guy.
I forgot to mention about our intro segment on the timer, Danger Dave from the Stolen Stitches sideshow, coming up with a creative way to store your movie popcorn while you're watching the movie. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
He had a little plastic popcorn bag full of popcorn, and he hung it from his eyelids with hooks. And then he ate out of it.
Oh,
Man.
like a nose bag for a horse, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With carrots.
So thanks, Danger Dave, for that death-defying stunt you gave us for the intro timer.
Dan said the movie was great. I'm glad you like Death Knot. I actually dug it. It's an interesting movie. Though it has the same plot of a lot of movies this year. It's like somebody in their family dies, the mother dies, everybody goes home. Don't go back home. Don't try to solve the things that your mom screwed up. Don't try to fix the will. Something bad's going to happen. If you live in a small town or a small village in a country like that is very strange about religion, don't go back home. There's lawyers there. They'll take care of it. But yeah, everybody goes back home. And bad stuff happens. Don't go back to Rockville. Anyway, enjoy Frankenstein 80.
I dropped the link to the film in the chat numerous times. You can also find it streaming for free on many different platforms. But take my advice, use the link we dropped in the chat because it's a much nicer looking version. It's not the Blu-ray. You know, there's a new Blu-ray coming out, but there also was a Blu-ray that came out in Germany a couple of years ago, and I got a nice book. I'll have to go downstairs and get it for the third segment, but it's a beautiful, cleaned up Blu-ray version of it, but the only version that was uploaded to YouTube of that was the Italian dub, so I didn't link to that. So anyway, thank you, Jen Upton, for coming onto the program tonight. We're always a pleasure to spend some time with you, hanging out, talking about movies.
Thank you. See you guys soon.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And hopefully, what's that, Jen?
Yeah, hopefully soon. Next couple of months, I'll see you again.
Yeah. We can't wait to get you back on the program. And of course, next week we're going to have AC Nicholas, as we mentioned, come back and you'll see the two movies we're going to show next weekend.
Cool.
Interesting entity that is Frankenstein 80. Go watch it. Come back afterwards. We'll be here to help you. Sam and I will. Jen's going to sleep.